What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to Sportskeeda MMA News. Paddy the Baddy says he's coming back to fight in London, and he doesn't care who his opponent will be. Kamaru Usman goes back and forth with Canelo Alvarez on social media. Robert Whittaker says he's showing Marvin Vettori respect by not fighting him at 100%. Dominick Cruz only wants the best for his next fight and calls out a former 2-division champion. And Michael Chandler gives his thoughts on fighting El Kukui. All this and more on today's edition of Sportskeeda MMA News. If you see any of your favorite fighters mentioned in today's video, make sure to blast that like button. The new UFC cash cow Paddy Pimblett just revealed when he is stepping back into the octagon once again to deliver another highlight reel finish. Paddy Pimblett spoke with the Schmo recently, a little over a month after his first round submission win over Kazula Vargas at UFC London. The UFC recently announced plans to return to London this year after the massive success of the first event, with the hopes for heavyweight Tom Aspinall to headline once again. Paddy the Baddy confirmed his comeback.
Yeah, that's more than likely, right? I reckon so. That's half the reason why I'm half on a diet now. I won't say no to anyone, I don't care who I'm fighting, it's a fight. And doesn't matter who it is either, because I'm gonna win.
Then Paddy gave his thoughts on a very high-profile fight in his division. Lightweight king Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje square off at UFC 274. Here's Paddy's prediction.
It's a bit of a toss-up because Gaethje's like my favourite fighter, but Oliveira's also up there with one of my favourites. I can't see Oliveira getting him to the ground, to be honest. I think Gaethje might TKO him in the later round, or even very early if he lands clean.
The 18-3 Pimblett emerged victorious in his debut and sophomore fights, both impressive finishes after battling adversity. Now, Paddy has his sights set on a murderer's row of lightweights, possibly a fight with the man he threw a hand sanitizer bottle at last time he fought in London, Ilia Topuria. What do you think? Is it time for Paddy the Baddy to face a ranked opponent? Leave a comment down below and you might be featured in tomorrow's video. It seems like Ali Abdelaziz accomplished exactly what he set out to do, revive the hype for an Usman vs Canelo super fight. And now Kamaru Usman himself has joined in on it. After a series of tweets from Abdelaziz and a hardcore snub from Canelo, here's what the pound for pound king had to say. Let's just all relax before somebody gets hurt. And then Canelo fired back with, I agree, cause it will not be me. Usman continued, in the cage or in the ring, I'm willing to find out in both. Are you? Canelo then told Usman to get back in line. You're calling me out, right? You want the payday, right? So you know where, but sit down, it's not your turn yet, I have a legacy to make. Usman ended off with this. Enough said, you don't want that smoke in a real fight. I hear you. Good luck, champ. The 20-1 Usman has been pining for this super fight for the better part of a month, and after dominating Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington twice, can you blame him? His next target is a rematch with Leon Edwards during International Fight Week. Meanwhile, the 57-1-2 Canelo has made quite a career of disposing of champions, except for Floyd Mayweather Jr., of course. He is set to face Dimitri Bivol on May 7th for the WBA light heavyweight title. What do you think? When do you think Canelo will consider fighting Usman? It's always such a shame when a fan-friendly fighter pulls out of a much-anticipated showdown, and Bobby Knuckles is certainly no exception. The former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker recently announced his withdrawal from his fight with Marvin Vettori. Both Whittaker and Vettori have lost to middleweight king Israel Adesanya, and yet Vettori has since defeated Paulo Costa to remain at number 3 in the division. Speaking to Submission Radio, Whittaker explained his withdrawal and his battle with injuries. He said, it's not like Vettori's a chump. I would think it's like the ultimate show of respect that I don't want to fight Vettori at anything less than 100%. He's only lost to the same dude I have. He's top of the food chain. I've done it too many times, like too many times. In the Smash finale, the fight I had, I went into the fight with a broken hand. I fought Yoel Romero, the interim title fight the first time, with a torn lateral collateral ligament, or LCL. The 24-6 Robert Whittaker has only lost to Israel Adesanya in the last 8 years, cementing his deserved number 1 contender spot. Marvin Vettori suffers the same blight. He's 18-5-1 with huge wins over Jack Hermansson and Kevin Holland, yet he hasn't been able to push past the indomitable Israel Adesanya. Adesanya is undefeated at middleweight, which includes 4 title defenses, and his sole loss in the UFC came to Jan Blachowicz when he dared to become a double champion. Should the UFC find a replacement for Vettori, or should they keep this banger for another card? Former 2-time bantamweight champion Dominick Cruz sounded off on a few names for his return to the octagon. Among the top 5, he also called out the man who just confirmed his UFC comeback.
People who are calling me out underneath the division, who's calling them out? And why aren't they listening to the people calling them out? Well, because they want to move up. Same thing I want to do. I want to move up. Give me somebody in the top 5. Give me an Aldo. Give me a Pitcher Yan. Give me an Aljamain Sterling. You know what? Give me the rematch with Cejudo when he gets his together. I don't care. Like, let me be the first person he faces till he gets right back in the division if he wants. I got no beef with him.
The 24-3 Cruz is coming off a unanimous decision win over the incredibly tough Pedro Munoz despite almost going to sleep in the first round. While the bantamweight division is now gaining momentum with Sterling successfully staving off Petr Yan's offense at UFC 273, the number 7 ranked Cruz may get what he wishes for. Former 2-division champion Henry Cejudo knocked out Cruz back at UFC 249, which prompted his retirement, and Cruz's allegations of the referee Keith Peterson smelling like alcohol and cigarettes, thus stopping the fight early. What do you guys think? Does Cruz still have what it takes to compete in today's top 5? While you're still here, subscribe to Sportskeeda MMA and hit that bell. And last but not least, Michael Chandler is not only a consummate professional, but he went toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje in front of a sold-out Madison Square Garden arena and put on one of the most exciting fights of last year. Now he is stepping into the octagon once again to face UFC veteran Tony Ferguson, who's currently on a 3-fight skid after winning 12 in a row. Speaking to former double champion Daniel Cormier, here's what Chandler had to say.
So Tony Ferguson has always been a perennial top guy. You know, we're only a couple years removed from that illustrious 12-fight win streak that he was on when he looked unbeatable, possibly could have even beaten Khabib. I see Tony Ferguson as a guy who still extremely dangerous, still always performs well, even when he runs into the toughest guys in the division. And you know, when you're fighting the toughest guys in the division, you're going to take losses. He's lost a couple, but so have I. So I'm excited to go out there. I don't necessarily think it's a step back, but it's a winnable fight. That's for darn sure.
Chandler respects Ferguson's resume, a streak that earned him a shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov a few times, but the MMA gods forbade. The 22-7 Chandler has a UFC knockout win over Dan Hooker in his debut, earning him a title shot with Charles Oliveira, which he lost by TKO. The 26-7 Ferguson most recently lost to Beneil Dariush at UFC 262, continuing a skid since getting brutally finished by Justin Gaethje at UFC 249. Do you think Tony Ferguson should move up to welterweight if he loses to Chandler? That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA News. Here are some of the best comments from today. Fake news, Chael has never lost a fight. Chimaev could have stopped Burns, but you can see his lack of experience prevented him from being a bit more strategic. Mike doing some good PR really hyping this up, so I guess if he wins, in his head, he's beaten a 2013 Tony. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. Your comment could be featured in the next Sportskeeda MMA news video. We always deliver daily content, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything going on in the MMA world.